So back in March, I was here in Gettysburg with Frank and Lonnie and Adam Buck, looking at some of their vehicle collection for the, at this point in June, the upcoming World War II American Experience Museum. And I'll tell you what, I did not even show a fraction of what they have in their collection. Look at this. This is just absolute insanity. So it's June. Whenever I was here last, it was March. We've got all of the World War II vehicles out. We're getting some drone shots and some footage. We're going to learn a little bit more about a few of these vehicles, and then we're going to hop in the old Sherman tank and get some driving lessons. I just saw this on the bumper of one of these vehicles that I didn't mention last time because I didn't see it. You can see it's marked Red Ball Express. Well, the Red Ball Express was this real famous trucking convoy system that supplied the Allied forces after the breakout from Normandy. The troops were moving so fast that they were kind of outrunning their supply line. And to expedite the cargo shipment, well, you'd have trucks with this big red dot or ball on the front of it, and they would follow these predetermined paths that were closed off to civilian traffic, and it became known as the Red Ball Express. So yeah, the frontline troops get a lot of the recognition, but it was these guys that kept them supplied. And over 75% of the men on the Red Ball Express are African American. Very valuable service during the war. Okay. Now, in the last video, one of the things that I showed that they have a lot of here are Jeeps. I don't know how many Jeeps are here, but it is a lot. And there are several that I didn't see on that first trip. And there's one that really caught my eye. This one right here. And at first, I thought, well, that's kind of a goofy way to paint a Jeep, to make it look like a pair of, flannel pajamas. But there is actually a reason behind this color scheme. So this is called a Follow Me Jeep, and the reason that it's painted with these bright yellow and loud colors, makes it kind of look like an angry yellow jacket, is that they wanted it to stand out so that whenever bombers were returning and maybe they had to land at a different base than what they took off from, one that they might be unfamiliar with, well, these Jeeps would get in front of them and lead them to the place where they needed to go after they landed. So yeah, learned something new today.
Our biggest claim to fame is the truck collection, probably, I would think. And we have more trucks that are not even out here today. I think there's like 15 GMCs, 14 or 15 Jeeps, 2 Ward La France Wreckers, a Marine Corps International M586, which is really rare, a Marmon Harrington tractor over there, GMC here with a gun ring on it, which is a hard cab with a wood body on it, is very rare. We brought that in from England. And in the museum on display, we're probably going to have about a dozen vehicles. And along with other groupings, that will be on permanent display over there, and these will be rotated in and out. After they tour the museum, and I hope they do, and I think we're in Gettysburg, we do have the tourism here, we like them to walk away with what it was like maybe back in the 40s. We want to have activities over there, reenactments outside. We want to have World War II dances inside. We want people to walk away with what it took to put these vehicles together, what the sacrifices the men gave, even on the home front here with the scrap drives. But if nothing else, people to see what this country could do when it pulled together for a common cause, like winning the war against the Nazis and the Japanese.
Right, now here's something that's actually kind of cool about what we're doing here today. We're about 4 miles from Gettysburg. Just over there on the horizon is the Mummasburg Road. So during the Battle of Gettysburg, the Confederates would have come up right through this area. And now, here we are all these years later, driving World War II vehicles. So it's kind of cool to see and think about the evolution of combat and the evolution of warfare from the Civil War through World War II all the way up to now. Right now, you may remember this vehicle from the first video. This is the Pacific, nicknamed the Dragon Wagon. This was a tank recovery vehicle. You can see it's got a little bit of a defense mechanism up there on top. This took a 7-man crew, but this is what it looks like in its full glory with the trailer attached. So whenever the support crews were going out to recover these knocked out tanks, this is the behemoth that they would use. Most people don't even know that this thing even exists, and it's right here. So the World War II American Experience, not only a history museum, but also a bird sanctuary. They couldn't move this piece of gear because we have these baby robins nesting in here. So take a look at this thing. I just showed the Pacific. Well, this is the armored version of it. Man, that thing is a beast. Okay, so here's another vehicle that I didn't even see last time. This is called an air compressor truck. Would have been used by the Corps of Engineers. And look at this. You'd have this giant air compressor, and it would be hooked up with all kinds of tools that would be needed. So look at this. This is a mean looking thing here. It's a 2-man chainsaw. They would also have like other different saws, nail guns. I mean, incredible. Most people, I would say, don't even know that vehicles like this existed. But they do. And they have a couple of them right here in this, what will be the World War II American Experience Museum. Now, here's something that I didn't include in the first video, and that is all of the uniforms. So here you can see, here's one from the 82nd Airborne, and if you look at that patch there, well, that is a patch indicating that that veteran was part of the Pathfinders. But what I really, really appreciate, here's one for the 7th Armored Division that my buddy Reed Stevens was in, is that they're trying to represent all of the divisions that participated in World War II. And each one of these uniforms, with all of these patches, well, each one tells a story. Okay, so here's, one for the division that Desmond Doss was in. They were in Okinawa. Here's another 82nd Airborne. You get over here to the 94th Infantry Division. That's one that people don't really hear about a lot. The bunch of 101st Airborne Division uniforms here. That's one that's a little bit more well known. But they're all important. They all played a role in the war, and all of their stories are going to be told at the museum. All right, so those are just a few of the things inside that I didn't show in the first video that I really wanted to include in this one to show just a little bit more of this collection and what's going to be at the museum. But I think they are getting the Shermans fired up outside, so I'm going to dodge out there and we're going to get these things out in the field. So we're getting things kind of fired up here. They're getting the tank lined up to get out here in the field. Got quite a few people out here today, friends of the Bucks, and everybody has a smile on their face. Like this is people getting immersed in history and loving it. Gives me a little taste of what this museum experience is going to be like. What they're doing here is a special thing. All right, so we've been looking at all of these different vehicles and getting some of them out and running them around. But now, I'm going to jump in the old Sherman here and get a few tank driving lessons from Adam. All right, so we got some pretty tight quarters in here, and got. Am I in the driver's position or the assistant driver's?
You're in the assistant driver's position.
All right, I'm in the assistant driver's position, which is where I should be. That makes the most sense since I have no idea what I'm doing. But look what we have here. I didn't know that I was going to be equipped with a grease gun here as well, so that's pretty sweet. All right, well. I'm going to hand the camera off to my wife, and we're going to see how to operate this thing.
All right, so to start this tank, we have the master switches. I don't know if you can see them here, but essentially we pull those out and then let them go in like so. And I'm not going to start the tank here for this demonstration, but you put both of those in. And then on this particular version, since it's the diesel, it's the M4A2 E8, we're going to want to put our clutch in, and then while we're in neutral, we'll start the tank. So we want to make sure that our clutch is depressed, and while the clutch is in, we're going to push the throttle ahead, the hand throttle that is, and we will hit this red button to the left. And when we do that, that'll start the first engine, and then I'll give it a little bit of gas with the accelerator pedal, and I'll let the clutch out, and that'll engage the second diesel engine. And from there, we'll go find the Germans.
Okay. So where's your throttle again?
So the hand throttle's right here.
Okay.
Push that ahead, and then you have a clutch pedal, and a gas pedal, or an accelerator pedal, I should call it here.
Yeah.
Since we're in a diesel, and then you steer with both of these levers here. So it's kind of like a hybrid between a big truck and a bulldozer.
Okay. So am I able to operate the tank from over here?
You are
as
not.
The assistant? Okay.
As the assistant driver, you're manning that 30 caliber machine gun.
Okay.
And handing shells up to the loader in the rear of the tank.
All right. I'm probably more qualified to operate the firearm than I am to drive the tank.
Well, we can find out.
All right. So again, as Adam was just talking about, I am in the assistant driver's seat. Here is the 30 caliber machine gun that the assistant driver would be operating. And he mentioned how he would also help with ammo. Well, there is the ammo storage underneath and behind the assistant driver's seat. All right, now we're actually going to get it fired up. Completely awesome. It's actually not as loud as I was expecting it to be, but you can just feel this immense amount of power underneath you as you're going through the field. Pretty awesome. Not too often that you get to ride around in one of these historic vehicles. Absolutely loving this. Jim has completely lost his mind and has offered to let me get over here in the driver's seat to drive this tank. So we're going to try to not run this thing through the barn. All right, here we go. Holy cow, this is officially one of the coolest things I've ever done. It's actually not as hard as what you might expect. So I mean, I grew up on a farm driving tractors all the time. So if you can work a manual transmission, you can, yeah, you can work this. So right now I'm going to engage. The way that it works is the tracks are on like a braking system. So if I pull, I'm pulling the left lever back now. That's engaging the brake on the left track, and you can see we're turning just a little bit. So yeah, this is completely awesome. All right. Well, I'm getting closer to all of Frank's vehicles up here, so I'm probably going to stop and let somebody who knows what they're doing a little bit more take it on in. But this is an incredible experience. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and say that was probably one of the top 10 coolest things I've ever done. I'm telling you, this museum is going to be unlike any other. So whenever they open, or maybe by the time you watch this video down the line, they'll already be open. It's the World War II American Experience in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. They are doing things here that no other place is doing. And really telling the full story, not only with vehicles like these, but with support vehicles and Jeeps and uniforms. I mean, it is the whole package. So glad that we were able to come out. I can't even talk. So glad that we were able to come out and do this today.